All right, let's jump right into this explainer where we're unpacking North Edge Consulting Group's 2026 guide. Have you ever spent weeks or maybe even months dreaming up a business idea only to get completely paralyzed by the details before you even take a single step? Trust me, you aren't alone. Today, we're digging into a guide specifically designed to help aspiring Indian entrepreneurs break through that exact analysis paralysis. It's a genuinely fascinating piece of material aimed directly at anyone who has ever sat on the sidelines wanting to build an income stream but just felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of choices. If you've ever felt stuck before you even began, well, this guide was built explicitly to fix that. We're going to look at exactly how they map out low investment, high potential businesses for the upcoming economic landscape. Here's a quick roadmap of what we're covering today. We'll start with number 1, the overthinking trap. Then number 2, India's shifting business landscape, followed by 3, the North Edge approach. After that, we'll ask number 4, is this for you? And we'll wrap it all up with number 5, hesitation to action. So let's kick things off with section 1, the overthinking trap. We have to begin by looking at the psychological barriers that North Edge pinpoints as the absolute main culprits behind failed ambitions. Because as the source text powerfully points out, most people don't fail because they lack ambition or drive. They fail because they start without clarity. What if I choose the wrong idea? Right? It's that classic fear that completely paralyzes so many of us before we even get off the starting block. Think about how many great businesses never started just because the founder was terrified of picking the wrong niche. What if all our effort goes into the wrong concept? What if we waste our precious time and our hard-earned money on something nobody actually wants? North Edge actually validates these concerns right out of the gate. These aren't just silly worries, they're totally valid roadblocks that this guide is explicitly built to dismantle from day one. And honestly, with so much noise out there, it is completely natural to wonder, what actually works in today's market? The sheer volume of terrible advice online can be deafening. You Google simple business idea and boom, you're hit with millions of conflicting, confusing results. The guide addresses this question head on. They don't just look for what's theoretically possible. They filter strictly for what is practical, what's realistic, and what actually works in the Indian market as we roll into 2026. They are literally filtering out the noise to focus only on opportunities you can bootstrap right now without needing a massive bank loan or a team of 50 people. There is a really stark contrast to be made here. On one hand, you have those generic business lists. You know the ones. They're usually outdated, copy-pasted content promising you can make millions overnight with zero effort. They're full of theory, hype, and false promises, just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. But on the other hand, North Edge counters that entirely with practical, realistic direction. No hype, just actionable direction that you can actually use to get off the ground. They're positioning themselves as the necessary antidote to generic, unhelpful internet advice. It's all about giving you clarity over confusion, so you can stop scrolling and actually start building. All right, moving on to section 2, India's shifting business landscape. You just can't take a business idea from 10 years ago and expect it to thrive today without context, right? North Edge notes that the Indian business landscape is aggressively moving toward 4 key pillars: digital-first opportunities, AI-enabled services, creator and knowledge-based businesses, and low overhead models. The beauty of these specific models is that they rely on independent, skill-based income rather than your traditional brick-and-mortar infrastructure. Take AI-enabled services, for example. One single freelancer today can do the work that used to take an entire small agency. Or a knowledge-based business, which means monetizing what you already know instead of buying physical inventory. This is the crucial point. These businesses are considered low investment exactly because they leverage current technology and changing consumer behaviors. You don't need a storefront, you don't need a warehouse, you just need a laptop, an internet connection, and the right direction. Which brings us to section 3, the North Edge approach. So how do they actually deliver on this massive promise of giving you clarity for the current market? They anchor on exactly 25 proven low-investment business ideas tailored specifically for this new Indian economy. Not 100 random ideas, not an endless, overwhelming directory of every business under the sun, just 25 highly curated options. By strictly limiting this to 25 choices, they completely remove the paradox of choice. You aren't scrolling through hundreds of options, getting completely overwhelmed. You're presented with a focused, manageable list. We're talking opportunities you can start from home, online, or simply as a weekend side hustle, covering modern services, consulting, content creation, and more. The focus here is absolutely on high relevance over sheer quantity. And get a load of the entry barrier they pitch for this. Just 99 rupees on sale. This is, quite frankly, an absolute masterclass in asymmetrical risk. They treat this extremely low price point as a low-risk investment for gaining immediate direction. The regular price is listed at 1,999 rupees, but at 99 rupees, the financial risk is practically zero. As one of their users actually noted, it's a total no-brainer. I mean, for less than the price of a cup of coffee, you're potentially saving weeks of frustrating internet research. At this price, the payoff in time saved and clarity gained makes it highly accessible to practically anyone looking to start their entrepreneurial journey. And this leads perfectly into their core philosophy. NorthEdge fundamentally defines business growth as a product of clarity. Think of it like a magnifying glass, focusing all your scattered, messy energy into one hot point to start a fire. They aim to simplify complex decisions into actionable, real-world steps because they believe true growth is built on simplified decisions, not confusion and overcomplication. The entire point of their approach is to stop you from spending weeks sitting on the couch trying to figure out what might work in theory, and instead just hand you structured, practical insights so you can take that critical first step. Next up, Section 4. Is this for you? So who exactly is supposed to be downloading this guide? What specific problems are they trying to solve? They break it down into 3 distinct demographics. First, working professionals. These are folks who are time poor but really need additional side income. They don't have 40 hours a week to research, so they need immediate answers. Second, students or beginners. If you're starting with a totally blank slate, you're obviously looking for beginner-friendly, simple entry points with low capital, and the guide promises exactly that direction. Finally, freelancers who want to expand their existing income streams and level up their service offerings. The common thread across all these totally different groups is that you don't need years of specialized business experience or massive venture capital. You just need to be tired of overthinking and ready to take action. To really humanize these claims, NorthEdge highlights a testimonial from Rohit S., a working professional. He said, "This guide gave me clarity within an hour. I've already shortlisted 2 ideas I can realistically begin with." Focus on that phrase for a second, within an hour. That quote is incredibly powerful because it highlights the speed of the transformation. It's the shift from being stuck for months wondering what to start to having a tangible, actionable plan in under 60 minutes. Moving from total confusion to practically shortlisting 2 ideas that fit his specific lifestyle. That speed to clarity is the core value proposition of the whole document. And finally, Section 5, hesitation to action. This is where all the concepts tie together, creating the ultimate psychological shift. They map out a 3-step transformation. Step 1, eliminating the noisy clouds of the internet to move from confusion to absolute clarity. Step 2, breaking that deep paralysis of hesitation so you can finally take real physical action. And step 3, focusing all your messy, scattered ideas into one singular actionable direction. Because the smartest first step, according to the source material, isn't about launching some flawless million-dollar company on day 1. It's simply choosing the right direction to avoid unnecessary risk and finally get the momentum going. Because ultimately, as the guide argues, perfection is just an illusion. The perfect business idea simply doesn't exist. The real question is, are you ready to just pick a practical starting point and take action? You don't need the perfect idea, but are you ready to find a starting point that makes sense? That is the real question to ask yourself today as we wrap up this explainer. Are you going to keep waiting on the sidelines trying to find a flawless, risk-free concept? Or are you ready to embrace a realistic start and finally build something of your own?